Hello and welcome back to 1874. It's time for a very impromptu, late thrown together show with myself, Dan Bardell, and a previous friend of the channel, maybe now an enemy of the channel. I'm not sure how to describe Dan Rollinson nowadays, but Rollo has agreed to come on and have a chat with me this afternoon as we try and give a little update about what's happening at Villa Park with regards transfers. And Rollo, it really doesn't feel like there's very much happening other than the Asensio deal that we all know about.
Yeah, I mean, how many people have had to say no for me to be your guest this afternoon?
I mean, I went through the whole of the '96 Cup final team. None of them could do it. Jacob and Greg both very busy on deadline. I actually offered to come on your channel. In fairness,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you didn't want me on there, so you offered to come here.
We're doing our post-match, our post-transfer window show. We're going to do something around the deadline later. So having you on this afternoon makes little sense, I thought. So I thought I'd jump onto yours instead. So a
Yeah,
bit like Villa's search for a centre-back, really scraping the barrel, aren't we?
yeah. I mean, this is like an old player returning to his former
Yeah,
club and trying to like, compare you to someone, and I can't really. James Milner,
yeah, I don't mind it. Take
second
it.
spell.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's decent. Yeah, I'll definitely take that.
Yeah, that's all I could. That's the only one I can think of. Ashley Young,
Yeah,
coming towards the end of his career.
yeah, for a little
Hopefully,
spell.
for your sake, you're not coming towards the end of your career. But obviously,
Uh,
both of us speak to a lot of people. Both of us do a lot of podcasts, but it's very quiet. The word
yeah.
around the street this afternoon. I don't think we're going to get that centre back, are we? It's not looking good because of the fact Emery only wants to sign players who he definitely wants, who he thinks will be an improvement. So on that basis,
Yeah.
I'm going off that he doesn't think that player is there at the moment.
I mean, I kind of get that. You don't want to be, you don't want to sign the wrong player. You would almost rather not sign anybody than sign the wrong player.
Yeah,
However, is there not any defender who's better than not having anybody? Do you know what I mean? Like,
depends on what you're saying. It's like when we got Bednarek, isn't it? Like that was just
yeah,
pure panic stations, and he barely played anyway. And then as soon as we got to January, he was allowed to go anyway. Like I'd rather not do that. I'd rather just have Bogard in the team and develop him. Than I know he's not playing in
yeah.
centre back at the moment. It's not, I don't think he's doing us any favors having Kamara there, but it's very unfortunate to have Torres and Mings injured at the same
Yeah.
time, isn't it?
Yeah, and Kamara is a what 6 out of 10 centre back or something. Like he's okay there. I think I saw somebody earlier say that when the game is in front of him, he reads it
Yeah,
the
I saw
same
that.
way as he would if he was in midfield. But when he's got to kind of run the other way, that's when the problems come out a little bit. But having Kamara in centre back is weakening midfield because that's Kamara's best position by a country mile. So you're kind of altering two positions by one
Mm.
player. I just worry because of the kind of typical nature it feels like of Aston Villa. You let Carlos go, Mings gets injured. You let Duran go, Watkins gets injured. For us to not do anything, I feel like we're tempting fate a little bit, and we'll go into a game at some point in the next few weeks with Bogard and Kamara as your two central defenders, and you're kind of asking for trouble then, aren't you?
Yeah, I think Mings will be back at the weekend against Tottenham, and then Torres can't be too far away at this point. It felt like a long time of that 2 months must have gone past. Now I can't remember which game it was. He got injured in. Was it which one was it? Was it Brighton? It was Brighton, wasn't it?
I seem to remember thinking it might be around the end of February, so
Yeah, in
maybe
fact, it
another
would be
few
if it was
weeks. Yeah.
Brighton. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
again, is this kind of like, as we said, you don't do the wrong deal. You kind of get by if you can. Mings is hopefully back at the weekend or maybe the weekend after. Obviously, there's no midweek games.
Mm,
Then you got Mings and Contra again. You've put in a lot of faith into them staying fit, and then another 2 or 3 weeks, Torres is back anyway. So
yeah,
you just muddle your way through with that and hope for the best rather than sign Disassi for a 6 million loan fee. Was it Chelsea asking for? Like, do you go all in on that? And then when Mings is fit and Torres is fit, where's Disassi playing anyway? Does he start? And then you're hampered with this problem again, aren't you? I know
well,
it's only a loan, but
I think it's causing us a problem that because we're not going to go against what Emery wants, and Emery wants the right player that's going to improve us or improve the squad in his mind, and we know that we wanted a centre back who could play right back.
mm,
So that kind of narrows the search pool down a little bit, doesn't it? Disassi has played right back for Chelsea, albeit not very well in the times I've seen him. But obviously, him being able to operate in those positions, him having Premier League experience, I think he's an international as well. Disassi, they're probably some of the parameters that we're working with. And now, if he's not going to come, and feels like we probably thought that he was going to come. Chelsea have moved the goalpost a little bit over the last 48 hours by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
It feels like those parameters are hard to fill to kind of get the right player.
And you'd think that if Villa don't fix that problem now, obviously with the Asensio and the Rashford only being loans at the moment as well, that does give us the wiggle room to make transfer permanent signings in the summer, doesn't it? It's you kind of if you can get through this season, it's something you can fix then.
Yeah.
Unusual for me to be doing this, but here we are. There's a comment from Nathan who said, "I can't understand that you think it's okay not to have a centre back, score 4, let in 6."
I don't think we're saying it's okay.
No.
I don't think we're saying that, are we?
We can probably just about scrape through, but it's a massive risk. It's a
Yeah.
Coulter injury away from ruining the season potentially.
But you don't know. I think what we're saying is you wouldn't suddenly go and get someone in and you're having to pay them 100, 150 grand a week if they're not going to play when everyone's fit, because that's irresponsible financially when we've got to get through PSR and the restrictions of that anyway. That would be as irresponsible as not getting one in, or probably more so, actually, if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint.
I mean, it is strange though, isn't it? Because I thought once we let's let go of Diego Carlos, well, we must be bringing somebody in pretty soon. And obviously the Loic Bardai stuff seemed to be that was going to be the most advanced, and all of a sudden he doesn't fancy it. And then the criticism against Villa then is, why are you chasing a player that doesn't want to come? Surely that's what you ask first. But things change. Maybe he changed his mind last minute. Maybe he got cold feet. Potentially we'll never know. We did our podcast this morning, and obviously Swinkles has gone now, and Nedeljkovic as well. Obviously Nedeljkovic not a centre back anyway, but a body in defence. And you kind of think, well, if we're letting these players go, maybe we will bring somebody in after all. And John's point to me was kind of like, well, let's face it, Swinkles just probably isn't ready. They're more happy to let him go out on loan for 6 months than maybe playing for 2 or 3 matches for Villa. And that's probably where we are at the moment.
I've just sent a couple of texts out whilst we're doing the show to see if anyone's got anything for me. One's coming immediately straight back. In fairness, that's just any updates? No. So that probably tells you everything that you need to know at the moment. Luke Server's asking about Mosquera. I think Jacob did cover that last week on this channel, but I've completely forgotten what it was. He said he would be. He's a left footer anyway, isn't he? I guess so. He could cover Torres and Mings, but it feels again very unlikely. Like you're going to sign someone like that. And he's going to come in and bring someone back like that, and he's going to solve all your problems.
Yeah, I mean, if Mings is back for Spurs, I mean, maybe the Spurs game is not irrelevant, but let's focus on the league at least.
I think it's very relevant all of a sudden. I do. I think it's really important. Yeah. I want us to go all out for the FA Cup now, because the league is seeming a struggle for us at the moment. But any game at home, if we keep getting drawn at home, I'll actually back us to get to the final, because we're very good at home.
Yeah,
we're just not very good away.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like the relentlessness of the league, I suppose. If Mings is back for the next league game, your defence is Dean, Mings, Konsa, Garcia, I guess, for the meantime, if Cash is injured. That's okay. That's perfectly feasible. There'll be nothing behind it. There'll be no options on the bench to change it if we need it changing or there's an injury. But if Emery feels like that's good enough to get us through, who are we to kind of argue against that? To a certain extent, obviously, absolutely, you can question it. And if Konsa does get injured or Mings doesn't come back in the next couple of weeks or he gets re-injured or whatever, it'll be a very easy kind of stick to beat Villa with, that, well, season's ruined because you didn't sort the centre-back situation, whether that's on Emery, whether it's on Monchi. A lot of the kind of anti-transfer discourse goes against Monchi, but nothing happens without Emery say so.
It's all on Emery.
If Emery doesn't want it, it won't happen. And if Emery does want it, like Rashford, it doesn't matter that it kind of blows the wage structure to bits. Things get done if he wants them done. So it's all on Emery, really. And I think this January window and where Villa finished this season, with the amount of controllables that Villa can control, a lot of that will decide. It's kind of on a knife edge, isn't it? Like reputations and certain players, certain staff, whatever. If this January window blows up in our face and Villa fail off the back of it, there will be questions asked.
I'm just thinking back to Emery's kind of first January, the window where Ings went, and Duran came in, and Moreno came in. You look back to that window, we actually cancelled the Bednarek loan. We had Mings and Konsa as our centre-backs, and the only backup was Callum Chambers. As long as Carlos was injured, he came back towards the end and was on the bench, but he never really played. So actually, this is kind of territory that we've been in before, although I guess we
had a Callum Chambers, though. Who do we have now? Kamara?
Bogard, I guess.
That is different though.
What I'm saying is we had 3 centre backs then. We've got 3 senior centre backs now, proper centre backs.
Yeah.
I would say it's the same.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it's exactly the same. But the difference is we didn't have any Europe. We didn't have all these extra games. We were just Premier League week to week.
Yeah.
We've got a brilliant chance in the Champions League because we've got ourselves into the last 16 without having to play in the playoffs. And all the Foyth stuff, someone just asked about Foyth. All the Foyth stuff went quiet, didn't it? I don't think that was ever really a goer. It was Bardell and then Disasi.
Yeah. And Chelsea are well within their rights to play hardball, by the way. If that was the other way around and Villa were 5th or wherever Chelsea are 4th, and Chelsea were 8th, a few points behind us, and they came calling for one of our defenders, we wouldn't want to sell to them either, or loan or whatever. Yeah. We would think, okay, well, let's get us. If we have got to do this, you're paying all his wages, it's a massive loan fee. If you really, really want him, and to a certain extent, there probably would be a price that Villa or Chelsea side would accept for a loan fee. If Villa said, all right, we'll give you 8 million loan fee or something stupid, Chelsea probably would kind of have to surrender at that stage and take it. But is that worth it for Villa for the sake of maybe 10 appearances or something?
Not even that, probably. It limits you in the summer as well heavily with what you can do if you're dropping that kind of money. They're dropping huge money on Rashford.
Yeah,
in terms of wages, and I think it adds up to around £5 million potentially.
But then what does Rashford potentially get you if he scores the crucial goal that gets us to the Champions League quarter-final? That $5 million is paid for and then some.
Yeah. I mean, people are going to lose their minds if we don't.
I'm not happy about it, but I'm trying to reason with it as best I can because it's a very genuine outcome that Villa don't sign a centre back. Then what? We're just going to lose our minds for the next 6 months. It might not be relevant, like how we felt with Danny Ings in that January. Like Ollie Watkins, our only striker. What if he gets injured? Well, he didn't, did he? And it didn't matter. So maybe not signing the centre back won't matter because Mings will be back at the weekend and Pau Torres is 3 weeks away, and we muddle through it, and all of a sudden we have Mings, Conser, Torres fit for the season, and this 4th choice centre back who we blow a load of money on. We don't need him anyway. Maybe the gamble will pay off and we'll get away with it. Maybe we don't.
I guess the weird thing is that obviously Carlos ended up going, and there's kind of different versions of the story of what's actually happened. But he played a lot of games in that first half of the season. More often than not, he's in the team.
Yeah,
he's not there anymore because I quite like in attack. I don't like it because I do feel it's quite scattergun anyway. What we've done, and it feels like we're kind of being reactive rather than proactive in what we're doing, and things have happened that have taken us by surprise. But in the attacking sense, I said this earlier, numbers wise, we're the same because Marlon's coming for Philogene. I think we can all agree that will be an upgrade. Rashford's coming for Duran, different type of player, but can play in multiple positions, and I think that will help suit Watkins more, having Rashford as the second striker because he'll play elsewhere, play with him, play without him. And then you've got Buendía's gone, who hadn't really played many minutes, for Asensio when he comes in, who you'd imagine would be a starter, albeit it's a risk because he hasn't played Premier League before. We don't know how he's going to adapt to the Premier League, but he's obviously a silky footballer. So in attack,
they're all potentially upgrades.
Yeah, I don't mind what we've done. That's absolutely fine. Midfield's very well set anyway. We've got 6 players that can play central midfield. Obviously, Barkley's injured and Arna's just come back from injury, but Bogard and McGinn can cover there as well. So we're pretty well set in that position.
And fullback as well.
Pretty
much.
It's obviously only having one senior right back. Nedeljkovic wasn't going to play. He wasn't fancied. He's gone.
Yeah.
But when Garcia's come in, he might play a bit more than Nedeljkovic. But it is that Carlos who's played a lot of games in a defence that struggled anyway, not replacing him. So I can see why there'd be a bit of uproar.
Yeah, I agree. On the Nedeljkovic thing, I've seen a lot of uproar isn't the word, 'cause it isn't extreme about that, but a lot of questioning of like, what was the point of that? I've got thoughts about it, but what do you think?
Emery obviously doesn't think he's ready, doesn't think he's good enough, and they've made a little bit of a profit on him. That's my understanding if they sell him. But he does feel weird that he's gone to a big club like Leipzig. Like they obviously see something. It'd be interesting to see if he plays for them or whether he's going to be a development player there as well. I don't know what their right back situation is off the top of my head, if I'm being honest. What are your thoughts?
I just think there's certain transfers that we're just not used to. Maybe as football fans as a whole, but as Villa fans specifically, that some transfers are brought in to improve the team straight away on paper. Rashford, Asensio, there for the here and now, very short-term thinking, really. I know they could go on to Rashford could get a contract and Asensio could have an extended loan, but really that's for the here and now. Other transfers are brought in to potentially improve the squad depth, like a Barkley or I know we spent a lot of money on Onana, but as an option to potentially play every week, but also to bolster your squad a little bit. And then I think there's the Nedeljkovic's and your Philogines. I don't know why I did the pluralisation thing because I hate that.
We're not. Let me tell you, on Sky. There's like a rap sheet of things that you're not allowed to do.
Is
That's on
that?
there.
Is that was it? Yeah, like
That's on
your
there.
Liverpool's, your Man
Yeah,
United's.
your
I
Pogba's,
hate that.
your
Yeah,
whoever. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
yeah. I don't know why I did that.
Poor from you, really.
Anyway, they're your gambles of like they could work and they could develop to be good squad players or good first team players in a few years, but also they're good buys that we're likely going to turn a little bit of a profit on.
Yeah, no risk.
No risk. It's a PSR thing. We signed Nedeljkovic for 6 or 7 million or whatever it is. It's not quite worked out in Emery's eyes, and we've shifted him on for 12 million potentially. I think it is something like that.
Yeah.
It's 5 million, but if that's enough to kind of pay for Rashford's wages, that kind of thing, it's almost like the cycle of PSR basically.
Yeah, it's this modern way to the situation that
Just
we're
playing
in.
the game.
You have to do it. Oh, Chelsea have been doing that for a long time. It makes sense, and this is what everyone always says. How do Chelsea pass PSR? They pass it because they've been doing
They
stuff
make
like
loads
this
of
for
money
about
off
10 years.
transfers, yeah.
Yeah, it's sensible. It's clever, and they've done it. Chelsea have done it better than most. You look at Manchester United; they're in trouble with PSR. They probably won't get punished because they're Manchester United. It's because they've not shifted players on for profit over the years. They've not done those kind of things. Chelsea have done that well, and Villa have done it well in the last kind of couple of years in terms of who they've shifted
Yeah,
on
we
and the
put some
money
good money in, yeah.
Yeah, look at Archer, for example. Villa have done that really well. They'll do it to Louis Barry in the summer. I'm pretty sure as well. Like a little reunion here. I'm half expecting Ginger Luke to run into my room and start ranting in a minute. But Adam Wright says, I'm not saying Swinkles is the answer, but surely if you get another injury, he'd be an option from the bench. Can't understand letting him go. Although I appreciate he needs to play games. I think he's probably answered his own question there, hasn't he? At the end, there's no point in covering now and maybe playing 10 minutes here or there for a couple of weeks. When then he sits and does nothing for the rest of the season. He can go and play football for the rest of the season.
Agreed.
Essentially, you have to do it. I understand what they've left it to the last second, the club, just in case he was needed at the week, and they've done it at the latest possible time. That's been on the cards since the start of January. But I understand why the club have done that.
Yeah, 100%. I just think it's a minutes thing. What benefit really do Swinkles and or Villa get out of fleeting appearances here and there when he can go and play 20 games for whoever he signed for?
Yeah,
I've forgotten.
Yeah, I'm just firing out another text.
This is like peak Sky Sports, isn't it? When they're just sat on their phones and they're going, "Oh, we're getting the latest information. I'm just going to dash away for a phone call from an agent or something."
I'm probably not like texting the most exciting people in the world. Although actually, to be fair, I would be excited about the one person that I'm messaging. But because people are asking about Asensio, and to be honest, I haven't kept across that very much this afternoon. I've just been told it's happening, and that's kind of the end of it. Is that what you're as well?
That's going to happen. I'll be amazed if the media and everything hasn't been done. Potentially even yesterday, never mind today, and it's just a case of when is the right time to announce that. We did our podcast this morning, and it was going to be just like Asensio signs from PSG, but because it wasn't officially announced yet, it's just like he's set to sign. It means exactly the same thing. It's going to happen unless something drastically goes wrong. But as far as we're aware, it's a when rather than an if, and kind of nothing to be worried about. It was Rashford and Asensio will be done, and we're just waiting. It feels like. Can I ask you about the front three?
Yeah.
Or the three behind?
Yeah, I was just gonna say just on that topic quickly. Rashford was done on Saturday night. It just didn't get announced until 24 hours later. But things do happen, but don't get announced. So it's like you say, it's probably done. It'll be announced.
It's one of them ones that you just keep refreshing, thinking
right
like, "Oh, it could happen like war on air." Like it's one of those. It'll just pop up out of nowhere. And the longer it goes on, the more it makes me feel like that'll be Villa's last piece of business.
Oh, it's not looking good, is it? It isn't looking good for centre back. What did you?
I heard a little bit of the show that you did earlier when I was coming back, and you were talking about Asensio's position as 10 and Rashford off the right. I disagree. I think it'll be the opposite. So, I think Asensio will play off the right and Rashford will play off the left.
But then and Rodgers in the middle?
Rodgers in the middle behind Watkins, yeah. I don't think Ramsey gets in at the moment. If everyone's fit and on form, Rashford ain't come to not play.
No, Rashford plays.
So he plays off the left, which is his favourite position, and that's bad luck to Ramsey, basically. Like, you've got to earn your place back. Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to come in immediately anyway because he's not match fit, is he, Rashford? But
I think he'll probably be playing up front on Sunday.
Once he's ready, like let's say if he plays against Spurs and he is match fit and he's ready and he scores and we win the game, obviously Watkins is going to come in and play against Ipswich. So where does Rashford play? I think he just goes on the left or possibly off Watkins, but then where's Rodgers playing?
In like a Diaby strike,
Yeah.
Diaby stroke role.
I don't think we'll see him on the right. I mean, we might, but I don't think that'll be his first choice position.
I'm thinking after I did that, I did start to think about it a bit more. I mean, really, you could argue with any of the combinations if you set on those three behind Watkins, which it probably is going to be. Let's face it.
Then you got Bailey, Marlon, and Ramsey as your subs, which is very strong.
I imagine Marlon's been brought in thinking he might start some games, hasn't he, as well?
I mean, that's one of them, isn't it? They will all get minutes at some point, and they will all start.
Yeah, of course. You get injuries, you get suspensions.
Asensio's the right-sided player cutting in on his left. Rashford is the opposite on the other side. It's Rodgers or Ramsey in the middle. And at the moment, it's Rodgers.
I mean, McGinn always gets fit when he's fit, by and large. Where's he playing?
Yeah, I don't think he's in the squad at the moment.
No, it's going to be interesting. I was thinking,
in the 11, sorry.
Yeah, we've done a lot of recently giving Cabot when he's fit a bit more license to come forward, and obviously it could be Garcia at right back for the foreseeable, well, for the next couple of weeks anyway. So you're giving your right back and your left back, and we did this at the weekend against Wolves, room to roam, which I quite like. And then it was Bogard playing central midfield, dropping into a back three. You'd imagine when we've got some centre backs again. If we sign one, probably not, but Kamara will drop in and make that back three again on the ball. Then you're playing with almost 3-10s. Right, we've always played with Bailey giving the width on the right hand side, but Bailey, let's face it, he's not. He's a shadow of his former self at the moment. So you're then looking at maybe Asensio as the narrow 10 on the right. Rashford's playing from the left, and he would hold a bit more width, I would think. That's his best position. He's from the left.
Yeah.
And then you've got Rodgers playing centrally as a 10. But I also think Rodgers' best position actually is a left 10.
Yeah, potentially. I think it's a bit of a toss-up, isn't it, between 10 and the left side for Rodgers, depending on what mood he's in. Sometimes he looks better in either position. I think, if you're looking at a tactics page and you've got those in those positions, I think during the game, apart from Watkins up front, the three behind him are going to be all over the place anyway. I think it can be a benefit that the opposition don't really know what you're doing. And it can also be a hindrance if there's not enough kind of discipline of tracking back and things like that, if those three are just loose cannons and running all over the place. But there's certainly some fluidity that Rodgers and Asensio swap sides, or Rodgers goes left and Rashford comes in the centre or whatever. So I like that fluidity, the potential of it at least.
Yeah, and some of the players would be bringing off the bench when everyone's fit. This is how I felt at the start of the season. I thought, if everyone's fit, we've got some really good attacking players on that bench.
It's just everything behind that.
Yeah, it is a concern. I've just had a message saying just await an announcement for Asensio, as we thought.
Yeah.
So they'll announce that when they feel is the right time. Possibly at the end of the window when we haven't signed a centre back. Chuck in the that's what clubs do, isn't it? They try and time things, don't they? Just chuck in. Oh, but we have signed a player who's played for Real Madrid and PSG. So if it was to end now, would you be relative? I suppose everyone would be the same. They'll be 50-50 on the window because they'll be happy with the attack.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people will actually probably still be upset about John Duran, won't they? Like, I've got to be honest, I'm not massively bothered.
I'm not.
He was going to go at some point. He's a loose cannon on and off the pitch. I described him on Sky last week as a firework waiting to go off, both on and off the pitch. At some point, he was going to kick up a stink. I think where he's gone probably tells you everything that you need to know. I think it's better for Watkins if John Duran's not there. But I think overall, the attacking department is probably stronger at the end of January when Asensio comes in.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got better options. I think Philogene for Marlon is an upgrade. Asensio for Buendia is an upgrade. Rashford for Duran is arguable depending on Rashford's form. If it's the Rashford of 3 or 4 years ago, that's an upgrade as well for the here and now. So I'm happy with all of those. I like the flexibility that we've got to be able to try different players in different positions and find different solutions for different opposition. But whatever happens, you're not going to be able to get away from the feeling of how you feel about the defence. And we will only know if that's a gamble that has paid off in the coming weeks and months ahead. If Villa finish mid-table, go out of the round of 16 and lose to Spurs at the weekend because Villa are so shaky at the back we can't stop conceding goals, that will be what's derailed this season, and that will be used as a thing of why didn't you fix that? You had an opportunity and you didn't. The plan at the moment feels like, well, if you score 3, we're going to have to score 4 then.
Yeah, and we're not very. I mean, the fact we didn't even score at the weekend against a team that's conceded 52 goals, although we did score and it was illegitimately disallowed, stupid. But generally, we should be scoring against Wolves. 52 goals conceded.
And that would help with the amount of chances that we do create but miss. If we were consistently scoring 3 goals every game, the likelihood is we would be up the league table because you're probably not going to concede more than 2, touch wood. So you would win some games 3-2, but that's not reliable.
Goals completely change a game, the time they're scored and stuff as well. Last season, by and large, especially in the first half of the season, I'd wager we went ahead in most games.
Mm,
Now we don't. We
yeah.
go behind, especially away from home. Away from home, we're miles
Away
off
form's
the world.
killing us, basically.
Yeah, we're crap away from home, but we're really good at home. We only lost one game at home still.
Yeah.
You saw us against Celtic the other night. Even though when they pulled us back to 2-2, I never felt massively concerned. I felt we'd win the game still.
Mm.
Away from home, we go 1-0 down, and I think, "Oh, God,
Yeah,
could be
same.
2 within 5 minutes." Obviously, it wasn't the other night, but Martinez did have to make some saves afterwards. I mean, I haven't done a Wolves podcast at this point. I'm wondering whether I
Oh,
even bother doing
don't
one.
bother.
No.
Don't bother. We did ours on the night of the game, but the vast majority of the chat was about transfers because it was like, "Oh, Rashford's kind of come out of nowhere. Let's talk about that a little bit more." Yeah, no one cares about Wolves, mate. Just leave it.
I mean, it was a horrible, horrible day at the office. Unfortunately for me, I haven't got away with doing it because I had to do it on the Guardian this morning. So
Oh.
I've still had to
Just direct
read
people
it.
to that instead, then.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose the good news from that was that people agree. I felt like I didn't know whether people would agree with the VAR decision, but they did. I thought it was an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, 100%. I get it. Like Rogers, was it Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rogers does touch him, but it doesn't impede his ability to go on and play
In
the
the
ball.
Fulham Newcastle game, I don't know whether you spotted it. Castagna does a more obvious block than that actually stops the defender from cutting out Munoz, who ended up scoring. It stops the defender from getting there. But because the linesman hasn't put a flag up or there was no offside,
Yeah,
never ever gets looked at because it felt like they were just looking for something because it had been disallowed wrongly. And I still believe the linesman put his flag up because he thought Marlon was offside.
agreed. Yeah.
They then thought, we
I'd
need
love
to
to hear
find
the audio of that because how that should really
oh,
go is if they say, I think Marlon's offside, they should be checking for whether Marlon was offside or not.
end
And,
off. Yeah.
and when he's not, that's the end of it.
But
You
it's
can't
not.
just keep going backwards to go, well, actually, let's just check this as well.
Yeah, they just go back and think, well, we better try and justify this disallowed goal in some way to save face. So we'll just go and we'll find something
Find something.
somewhere. There must be something that's happened, and it was the Rodgers decision. I think Rodgers has been pretty unlucky this season. I feel a
I
few things
agree.
have
Yeah.
gone against him. The goal against Juventus, the
Mm,
pullback against Nottingham Forest. This now, I feel like Rodgers has been particularly unlucky.
yeah.
Well, should we wrap this up? It's not looking
Yeah.
good for anything happening whilst we're on air, is it? No dream centre back signing whilst we're on. That was the dream. Villa
I
have
mean,
pulled.
you can play centre back, can't you?
I can do a job. Can do a job. There's some lovely footage of me spraying the ball around at centre back at Villa Park a few years ago. If people
Yeah.
want to dig it out, I'm sure it could be. I could do a job. I don't know what we're going to do. We're obviously not going to do anything.
I think we're just going to muddle through what we've got and hope for the best. And that's not really a strategy, but
Jacob said the other day.
I do kind of get
Yeah,
it
I agree.
in a roundabout way. I don't like it, but I understand it.
Jacob said it a few shows ago on here. He kind of said like Villa's transfer strategies. They don't really have one.
Yeah,
They're
it
just
does.
kind of reacting to what's happening and what's put in front of them and just going with that.
Does feel a little bit random.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Let's go.
is there something in that? Like, is there a benefit in that? Maybe.
Someone referenced me and you playing Football Manager. It does feel a little bit like when we signed Gareth Bale on that Football Manager on your podcast.
35-yard Gareth Bale. Yeah.
I don't think he ever did this for us, or we stopped playing. I can't remember what happened. It does feel a bit like that, where we were just like digging around. Oh, he's available. Should we get him?
Oh, he used to play for PSG and Real Madrid. Oh, yeah. Go on then. That sounds
interesting.
good.
That was very. We signed some other dodgy players as well. I think, didn't we? I think we signed Conor Coda.
Yeah, if we did. Yeah.
The back three went for the back three, didn't we? Conor Coda looks like he's going back to Wolves.
Wolves. Can I just ask you one more thing? Just
Yeah, go
based
on
off
then.
a comment there from Steve about like how Rashford looked in the photographs. Have you seen this? The reaction to
Yeah,
it.
is that bad?
There's a story in the Daily Mail about like he looks terrible, looks out of shape and all this kind of stuff. And we were speaking about this in the office earlier off air about like, I wish I looked as out of shape as Marcus Rashford, that kind of thing.
I think he's just growing his hair.
I think he's not had a haircut is exactly what we said. It's that kind of like I kind of get. I sometimes say like his face looked a bit puffy or whatever, but sometimes that's just like bad lighting or a bad
Growing his
photo.
hair.
Yeah, there's in the TV interview, the Villa TV interview thing. I just thought that just looks like Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, he looked weird seeing him in Villa gear. I can't get
Oh,
away from that.
100%, yeah.
But when he scores a hat trick against Spurs on Sunday, no one's going to care about how he looks.
Yeah, it's
He's
like
going to be in bad condition. He's been working out on his
awful
own
and
anyway.
stuff. I just don't get it. It's just it's hit piece after hit piece, isn't it, from that pesky mainstream media?
He's still been training with Manchester United. It's not like he's been banished and training with the kids or anything
Yeah.
like that. And he's been doing work in his own time as well. So it's not.
He'll be fit. He's just not match fit.
Yeah,
but
I know someone who's very close with Rashford, and I spoke to him on Saturday, and he was like, from that side, there was nothing to worry about at all. He's basically just Sound like I'm a bit depressed at Manchester United. In all honesty, mentally,
Yeah.
it's not been a good place for him to be at in the last 12 months or so, and he needs a fresh start. And he's got this fresh start, and he's excited for working under Emery, and excited that Emery can improve him, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing. And I've
Wants to
no
win the
doubt that he
Champions
will.
League.
He's done a bit.
Some aspiration, no?
I mean, I can't wait to do Talksport with Flex tomorrow. Honestly, and say about it being an upgrade. I genuinely believe it.
We had United fans last night in our Rashford podcast saying, like, as if you think Villa is a step up from Man United. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it literally is higher in the league. They were like, well, you lost to Wolves today. You lost to Crystal Palace and a 13th. Like, it's a step up in every way.
I mean, Manchester United fans can't say anything to anyone.
I get that they've still won trophies over the last couple of years, and they've got a massive history. But as of the last couple of years, we've finished above them every year. We're in the Champions League.
I watched Man U get outplayed by Southampton a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
completely outplayed. So, the Athletic notification, anything going? Nope. Nothing happening.
Just check my contacts. Oh, no, nothing.
No, I'm not talking about that. There's a couple of messages coming in. Yep, I sent to you about it. My dad's texting to say your microphone is quality.
Mine?
Yeah.
No, nice.
Is mine rubbish? I don't
No,
know.
I actually think it sounds right on the headphones. But I did pay a fair wedge for this mic, so I would like to think it's decent.
How much did you pay? What's the bunts?
I think it's about $260.
Oh, big money at Claret and Blue. Now there's new studio, new mic. Was that out of your own budget, or was that?
No, I did actually pay for this mic myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wanted to up my standards.
I mean, in fairness, you're not paying a lot of contributors that come on and do stuff for your channel, are you? So you've got the.
When you say we're not paying many, we're not paying any. I think that's the word you want to use.
No, that's true. And I look forward to my visit to the Claret and Blue studio for free again in the next few weeks. I'm sure.
I'll get it. You can have it when I get my invoice for this.
This is more than owed at this point. I would say every now and again I might text you for a favour saying, "Can you just put this into a TikTok format for me?" or things like that. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, of course. No competition here.
No. Anything else you want anything you want to plug? You're doing your show later. I doubt I'll jump on again. I know I'm doing a general transfer show for Give Me Sport in an hour and 15 minutes actually.
Well, our plan today was to do 3 live streams. We were going to do Rashford this morning, then Asensio this afternoon, and then like a roundup tonight. Rashford being announced at 10 o'clock last night meant we just did it last night. We did Asensio this morning, even though it's still not been confirmed, but as we've said, it will be. So we're doing a kind of transfer window roundup at some point this evening. When we feel like Villa are done, we'll probably jump on. So
as we're doing now.
Yeah, potentially. But 9:30, 10, something like that. And then we'll do an hour probably till the deadline itself, just in case. Talk about Nedeljkovic and all those other little bits and pieces as well.
Right, so 2,189 people listening to us ramble.
2,000 on yours, really?
Yeah.
Where are they all coming from?
Transferring it, mate. This isn't normal.
Is that just YouTube?
Surely
not.
No, it's 1,600 on Twitter apparently.
Oh, okay, Twitter as well.
Watching live. Yeah, 4 on Facebook.
Fair play to Facebook.
Sometimes we have 1 on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah. This show, I've just mentioned the show I'm doing on Give Me Sport at 5:45. I've got a horrible feeling that they're expecting me to go on full of information, like I'm an insider.
Well, you got your messages from your pals.
Yeah, I've had that before. I went on Talksport once, and I was thinking I was just talking about transfers, like giving my opinion. This was years ago, and they suddenly started saying, like, just asking questions like, "What have you heard about this? What's the inside track?" And I was like, "Yeah, my sources have said that."
My sources, Heinz and HP.
That was a horrible day on Talksport. They took me by complete surprise. Right, let's go. Yeah. Both got responsibilities, but if anything major was to happen, I would jump on.
This is what we said about ours. We're going to do a roundup, but let's say we signed Tomori out of nowhere. Then obviously we'll do a special show about him. But it's not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not going to. It's definitely not going to happen. But yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's nice. That was. I'm
no problem.
Feel like I haven't spoken to you. I've been so busy in January. I generally feel like I haven't spoken to many people, but it's nice to speak to you. Yeah, good. We should do it again
next week.
Yeah, why not? I'm free.
Okay.
A lot quieter for me after January finishes, so always available. Right, let's go.
Bye.
Thanks, Rollo. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're going to go and listen as well, thank you very much for that. I'll get this on audio as soon as possible because
you do now, yeah.
Oh no, when I say I'll do it, I'll get someone else to do it. Do you know how to do it?
I do, yeah, but I've got stuff to do, so
okay, fine. I'll get someone else to do it. That's fine. This will be available on audio soon, obviously, and don't know, rambling. Let's go. Thank you very much. Up the Villa, up the transfer window.